In the previous video session, we looked at the concept of price elasticity of demand, and we did the calculation of price elasticity of demand, how to calculate the elasticity coefficient. In this session, we look at the different categories of price elasticity of demand. Now, we have calculated ED, and we have seen that ED can either be greater than 1, ED can be smaller than 1, right? ED can be equal to 1, ED can be equal to infinity, and ED can be equal to 0. So these are the 5 categories or types of price elasticity of demand that you can get. Now, I won't ask you the diagrams. You will see in Exhibit 3 there are different diagrams that illustrate the different categories of elasticity. But what is important is that also in the slide there, the summary that is illustrated in the textbook is that the type of elasticity is determined by the elasticity coefficient. So the value of this coefficient will determine what category of elasticity is applicable. And what you need to know is, when we look at price elasticity of demand, we looked at is the percentage change in the quantity demanded because of the percentage change in the price. That are the 2 variables that is applicable. So let's look at the first one. We will look at each one separately, and because in the multiple choice questions I will test you on your ability, and in the section A of the exam also I will test you on your ability to interpret. If ED is smaller than 1, greater than 1, equal to 1, equal to infinity, equal to 0, what type of elasticity is applicable and what is the meaning of that, right? So let's look at the first one. When ED is greater than 1, then what do we say? Then we say the demand is elastic. Okay? So what do we mean by elastic? We simply means that let's look at practical examples. Then look at the percentage change in the quantity demanded versus the percentage change in the price. And we look at practical examples here. We will say if the price changed by, say, 10%, the percentage change in the quantity demanded will be 20%. So when we look at ED greater than 1, then we say the demand is elastic. Then what are we referring to? The quantity demanded in percentage terms changes proportionally more than price changes. And you can see that the percentage change in the quantity demanded is bigger than the percentage change in the price. Then we say the demand for this product is elastic. So if ED is maybe equal to 5, or ED is equal to 6 or to 2, it must be greater than 1. Then we say it's elastic. Then the percentage change in the quantity demanded is bigger. We can say here the percentage change in the quantity demanded is bigger than the percentage change in the price. So this is the first type of elasticity that we have, right? The second one is where ED, the elasticity coefficient, is smaller than 1. Then we say the demand for this product is inelastic. Okay? So for a practical example, if you calculate the price elasticity of demand and you calculate it is 0.05, that is smaller than 1, then the demand for that product is inelastic. For example, products that will fall in this category is cigarettes, alcohol, newspapers, basic food stuff, electricity, which you cannot live without or which is habit forming, you are addicted to that. So even if the price change increase by a certain percentage, people will still use it. Whereas in the previous one, where the demand is elastic, luxury items will fall under in that category. Say, for example, if the price of plasma TVs or motor cars increases, people will just, not buy it. Or if the price decreases, then people that couldn't afford it previously can now afford it. So then the demand is elastic for that kind of product. So what is the meaning of ED is smaller than 1 in terms of our general definition of elasticity, in terms of percentage changes? So when that happens, then the percentage change in the quantity demanded is smaller than the percentage change in the price. So if the price percentage change, if there's a 10% change in the in the price of the good, it will only lead to maybe a 5% change in the quantity demanded. Now 5% is less than 10%. Okay, so this is what we mean by inelastic demand. The quantity demanded changes proportionally less than the percentage change in the price. Okay, so this is when we talk about inelastic demand, and like I already said, the price of electricity is going up from the 1st of April, and electricity falls into inelastic demand, and this is why Eskom over the last couple of years has increased their, or have asked for increases in electricity tariffs, because they know people cannot go without electricity. Okay, so that is the second category. Then the third category, which is not in reality. The first two categories, we either get in reality, either the product has got an inelastic or elastic demand. But you also need to look at theoretically other categories where ED is equal to 1. The elasticity coefficient is equal to 1. Now what does that mean? It simply means that in terms of your general definition of elasticity is that the percentage change in the quantity demanded is equal to the percentage change in the price. Now let's use numbers, but before we continue, what type of elasticity is applicable here? We say, then we talk about unit elastic, or another term that is used by other textbooks is unitary elastic. Now it means that the percentage change in the quantity demanded is equal to percentage change in the price. So if the price changed by 10%, then the quantity demanded will also change by 10%. Okay, and in terms of your general definition, 10% divided by 10% gives you 1. Okay, 10% divided by 10% is equal to 1, which is then the elasticity coefficient. Okay, so this is what we call unit elasticity or unitary elasticity. Okay, so it's important that you need to know when the elasticity coefficient is 1, what is the meaning of that in terms of percentage changes of quantity demanded and price. And like I said, this type of elasticity is not, it's theoretically, it doesn't happen in reality, but you must also know, the theory of elasticity. Okay, then the other two is the extreme cases of elasticity. Is not in reality, it's theoretically, where ED is equal to what we call, this sign is infinity. This is what we call infinity. Infinity. Now, what is the meaning of ED is equal to infinity? When we look at the general definition of elasticity, it simply means that what will happen with the percentage change in the quantity demanded because of the percentage change in the price. Now let's look at maybe practical numbers here. A slight change in the price will cause a large, very large increase in the quantity demanded. So say for example in percentage terms, the price changed by 0.0001 percentage. Okay? That is a very tiny change in the price. What will happen with the percentage change in the quantity demanded will be very large. It cannot be measured. It is infinite, right? It might be, say, 1,000 or 10,000 percentage, right? And even, more, which cannot, it's infinite. It cannot be measured, right? And we will come to this type of elasticity when we deal with perfect competition. So this is theoretically. We don't get this type of elasticity in reality. We only get it theoretically. But you must be aware, you must be able to know this kind of elasticity. So a slight change in the price will cause a large, infinite, unmeasured, immeasurable change in the quantity demanded. Okay? So quantity demanded is extremely responsive to even very small changes in the price according to your slide. And you will see when we come to price elasticity of or perfect competition, you will see, I can just mention it, but it's not necessary here, where your demand curve will be a horizontal line, which indicates if there's a slight increase maybe in the price, nobody will buy the product from producers, but don't worry about that. This slide is now the important one, the different categories of price elasticity of demand. Okay, and the last extreme case of price elasticity of demand is where the elasticity coefficient is equal to 0. Now, what is the meaning of that? When it's equal to 0, in terms of your general definition of elasticity of demand, or price elasticity of demand, the percentage change in the quantity demanded versus the percentage change in the price. Now, what will happen? If the price changes by any amount, right? Say by 10%, or by 5%, or by 2%, up and or down, right? What will happen with the quantity demanded? The quantity demanded will remain exactly the same. The percentage change in the quantity demanded will be 0%. The quantity demanded doesn't change, right? So this is also theoretically. So this will then be illustrated by a vertical demand curve. So it simply means if the price goes up or down, the quantity demanded doesn't change, right? So this is what we call perfectly inelastic demand, when the demand for this product is perfectly inelastic, but in reality, no product has this kind of elasticity. So this is the 5 categories of elasticity. And just to summarize it again, ED can be smaller than bigger than 1. Then we talk about elastic demand. ED can be smaller than 1. Then we talk about inelastic demand. ED can be equal to 1. Then we talk about unit elastic demand or unitary elastic demand. ED can be equal to infinity, where you cannot measure the change in the quantity demanded. It's because of a slight change in the price. And ED can also be equal to 0, where even if there's a change in the price, it will not change the quantity demanded. So please note the 5 categories of elasticity, or the 5 types of elasticity. In the exam, like I said, I will test you on your ability to interpret the categories of elasticity in terms of the elasticity coefficient, which I will give you. Or you have to determine it, and you have to then interpret what type of elasticity is applicable in that case, according to the value of the elasticity coefficient. Okay, so this is very important in terms of the exam and your semester test.